So, a few announcements before this video starts. I will be making an Impact review. I will pay some respects for a former San Diego / LA Charger Pro Bowl wide receiver out of Vincent Jackson that recently passed away this week. And shit on this Raw so goddamn bad, you'd think it would come out of one of the Divas' bag that Orton shitted on. I mean, defecated. I can't say shit. Damn it. Alright, let's start this off. Well, the main event was supposedly a 1 hour gauntlet for just a placement. Just a placement. Instead of putting this over at random to actually have some unpredictability over who's going to come out first and last in the Elimination Chamber match. Because technically, I guess that's supposed to play a factor even though most of these guys are world champions. Or we just need a reason why we need all 6 of them to just be in the same show at the main event. Oh, and Miz renounced his placement over at the Elimination Chamber match for reasons of I'm still Money in the Bank briefcase holder. And it's like over a semblance of actually being intelligent all because you have the briefcase, yet it doesn't even make him more opportunistic, even though there's been plenty of chances that he had the opportunity, especially when McIntyre was literally laid out right in front of him, when literally Sheamus gave him a shocker bro kick out of nowhere. This guy's stupid. He later on cost his own friend an opportunity after announcing him to take over his place at the Elimination Chamber match. Nearly said Money in the Bank. At the Elimination Chamber match, where he would be taking his spot. Kofi Kingston then issued over that he's a former WWE champion. Oh my god, I think like most of the fan base already forgot that he was, and yet he issued himself that he should be getting a title shot opportunity for the WWE for the Elimination Chamber match. Then there was a match later on because of course Adam Pearce has enough on his plate, so it ends with Miz. If he wins, Morrison gets his spot at the Elimination Chamber match. If Kofi wins, Kofi gets an opportunity. That's literally what was going on. Miz later on gets laid out over at Miz TV after some questions been asked over for Drew McIntyre over the biggest cost of him losing the world title at the Chamber. I really don't care because I don't know who's technically going to face off against McIntyre at WrestleMania. There's no plausible answer because we know that he supposedly are going to beat most of the guys are mid-carders and only semblance of main event look that I actually don't mind seeing at WrestleMania would be McIntyre versus Orton, but we already saw that like 3 times, and the most overplayed lack of star power would be MVP versus McIntyre, but MVP's already been devalued over to a jobber. I don't know, and I don't know why people like Vince just thinks it's like the biggest ratings breach over is when we always have Miz TV. Why? For God's sakes, why? What's so interesting about Miz TV? I'm trying to understand. He's barely that interesting over in his talks. It's generic pushing of the needle. He doesn't have an interesting dialect. The guy doesn't have that much charisma other than saying, when my mouth goes up, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. It's gay. He's like a Bush Dyke substitute teacher. I hate The Miz. I don't mind if he fails twice at cashing in for the WWE title. It sounds harsh, but people override him for having one good relevant year when he was Intercontinental Champion. Not even when he was WWE Champion, because that got overshadowed by Rock and Cena. And whose fault is that? The Miz for not capitalizing over most of this. He is the world champion. And the majority of his rivalry has been literally came not from John Cena, not of John Morrison or Truth, or Randy Orton. No, he had like a full-suited rivalry where he gave a full month of attraction to Jerry the King Lawler that they had a pay-per-view match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. A legit one-on-one match. If this wasn't showing that Vince really didn't care that he could just toss the title on anybody, then Vince would literally toss the title on everybody. Miz sucks. I really don't give a damn. Kofi's just there for placement. He's probably going to be like the second guy to get eliminated. And it's like Kofi Mania Part 2. Oh, dude, nobody even remembers Kofi Mania Part 1. Boring ass promo, boring ass intro. I just summed up what was supposedly the reason why we even had our main event to begin with. We had a 6-man tag involving the Lucha House Party and Riddle, literally just Riddle now, against the Hurt Business. And it kind of sucks too because these mid-carder jobbers, it's like we even had a promo over Riddle making jokes, making puns. It was like Abraham Lincoln, or looking like he's trying to squint and look at both of them at the same time, with Lynn Serrata saying freaking Lucha Lit. Stop with these panel shots of the idiots coming out of the goddamn entranceway. I don't know if Dunn thought that was cutting edge, or just a new fleshed out way how to do camera angles, then just have the generic promo from backstage and then open off. But at least that sounds more interesting than just out of nowhere. Like they take it like the Lucha House Party are that over. Mexicools and freaking Dirty Animals are more racially sensitive than whatever Lucha House Party have, and Riddle's just retarded. Yet they beat Hurt Business, the most competent thing happening on Raw. They should be squishing up screen time. They should be forcing their way over in the main event. They should be doing a lot more stuff. And I'm not saying this for racial bias. I'm saying this literally because they are literally the most competent thing going. Yet they lose. Cleanly. Benjamin and Alexander hit the floor. MVP gets hit over with a running knee, then a floating bro to win the match. That was technically the finish. Then it was just moonsaults over with the freaking Lucha House Party. The Hurt Lock. I don't know where off Lashley, literally taking out every moment of those jobbers, literally just erasing that asterisk of losing to these jobbers for no reason. So that's technically the whole 6-man tag. I guess the Hurt Business come out looking weak because they lose to guys that they already beaten clean for title defenses. But I just don't get it. I just don't get the focus, man. I don't. Bad Bunny wins the 24/7 title, while Charlotte Flair and Asuka tags against Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. Well, the match would be stopped short after a back and forth over which Lacey Evans and Charlotte and Asuka taking over switches of tags. Oh, God. And it ends with Lacey Evans announcing herself pregnant over escaping the ring after she had to tag herself get in contact with Charlotte. With my current thing is, oh wow, Corey Graves got another woman pregnant. Got a woman pregnant. What else is new in the WWE? So that was technically it. That was the segment. We did have replays over to that astounding night. No interviews over what happened with Ric Flair or how did Lacey get pregnant, because I think this is literally just a way to write her off the television, because they really have nothing going on for Lacey Evans. I don't really give a shit. There was also Bad Bunny winning the 24/7 title out of, I think, Akira Tozawa. I know it was R-Truth. And Adam Pearce talking to Kofi and The Miz. And I already went over that, so that's technically it. Segment was goddamn dumb. It ends in a no contest over Lacey Evans' bombshell. Nothing else is going to happen. Oh God, and it's stupid as well. What's with these circumstances? How are these bitches getting pregnant? Nearly everybody's at the company already. There's already so many injury-prone stars, so many guys about to get released, and they're still over the brink of leeching over dumb brand split rulings for no reason. This is so dumb. We have Kofi Kingston against The Miz one-on-one. And it's like, oh my god, wait. I've watched these guys for over 10 years wrestle against each other. What's the difference here? Kofi does retarded double stomps, his chest looking more concave than segregated than segregation itself from back in the day. Stupid clothesline, fake double chop, New Day drop. It just looked mega fake. Dumb DDT that always got a near fall. His crap flying clothesline. Both these men are whack over in the ring with movesets that won't even get over if we had a legit crowd or a 2K generic rendered crowd. Just crap finish. There was a bit like at least they settled over to the point that okay, these guys know each other in the ring. Over Miz like stopping himself when he was about to nearly feed himself over to a Trouble in Paradise. There was an SOS for the near fall. Miz was targeting the knee of Kofi Kingston with the figure 4 leg lock, and then a skull crushing finale. But then there was a surprise roll up. Kofi, then a surprise Trouble in Paradise. That was the match. Ah, God, the match was like Monday Night Raw from like 2011 type boring, generic mid-carders trying to still pretend that they're still main eventers over this time slot. The match wasn't bad, but it's like, bland, like fucking boring. Like you already know the spot that was gonna happen. Kofi Kingston just illuminates. I'm just happy to be here. Let's have a great match. No character development, even though he's a former champion. And Miz is just there because Miz and Mrs. And of course Vince wants a replay of that nipple slip from that titty pop from Miz and Mrs. from Maurice. So that's technically the reason why Miz is still on television. That's technically it. We also had Orton, Alexa Bliss giving warnings over to Orton, while Orton's hyping himself over over his gauntlet match and Alexa Bliss, with Orton just trying to gruntingly sound like the Undertaker. It just doesn't sound that threatening. Just Alexa Bliss like ashes to ashes, dust to dust, with the satanic sign on the goddamn thing. It's just boring. I want it's either dish yourself away from this feud, because obviously it always just looks like you're still focused on the world title, but it's not intertwining with the world title. Like, I know they're gonna possibly do a surprise return over with the Fiend, but it just feels just not that exciting anymore. Lana faced off against Shayna Baszler. Yeah, it's just with the Coquina clutch. The match ended as average as possible, with some counters over, some arm breaks, generic arm break, nearly hitting the ropes over, some top rope moves. Don't know why Naomi is just tagging with her now. It just feels out of nowhere. The match was forgettable. Just another jobber match over with Lana. I guess to forcibly make her the sympathetic babyface. Even though I didn't mind the character that she's literally just a blonde IG Instagram model, rich girl with issues or something like that. At least it's more understandable, and she's attractive, so we can work around that. So I don't know why we're trying to get the forcible sympathetic babyface that just comes in clutch in the most unnecessary of situations. It just feels bad. It's just so bland over in character, and Lana just forces herself to just look green in the effing ring, because she is green in the effing ring. Please, God, stop this right now. Just stop this brand split so I don't have to watch Lana on television consistently. And we can just have those B matches on like SmackDown where they belong. And that was technically it. It's the Kurafuji clutch. I don't give a shit. Alright, So the final match was an hour worth of the gauntlet match. That was it. The full hour of a gauntlet match. That's already such an overused trope to get somebody over. I always hated the gauntlet matches since 2019. Let me tell you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. It is just so dumb. It's forcible underdog garbage to get the smaller guy over when they're in a numbers disadvantage. It always just looks mega fake. No one comes over, and just the time management of such just doesn't seem that threatening. And the worst part of all, the WWE champions involved, it just doesn't feel like there's going to be anything to get ahead of, especially if it's going to be like for the top face in the company. But Sheamus wins. There's a bro kick. There was like 2 20-minute matches, especially over for Jeff Hardy and Drew McIntyre. And another one involving Drew McIntyre, eliminating both. Shoulder tackles. Kofi got eliminated the earliest, so he'll be heading up first with AJ Styles. Felt so bad. There was some average, like, Superman, like, comebacks off McIntyre, but it just felt forced. Sheamus did surprisingly win clean after being the last one to be announced, getting a bro kick on McIntyre, ending the match. If you guys actually like the show, that's good for you. That's great. Just understand. That's probably coming from a parallel universe. Or somewhere where you would say that's a good show. But it's not. It's really not. And I wish I would be lying and tell you that this is a decent show. It's 3 hours of wrestling. And you're already giving me an hour over a gauntlet effing match, with a lack of a story other than just a placement of something that's usually in random. So, what's the point of making... So, the gimmick of the Elimination Chamber already loses its allure of actually being unpredictable. It's already a metal cluster, a Hot Wheel holster box. It's not a goddamn huge mass destruction to hold 6 wrestlers. So gay. Sheamus came around just whining over, just not getting over his one-on-one shot because McIntyre is scared of him. The women's division looks like a kerfuffle of a frickin' joke. Charlotte keeps looking like a she-male. Asuka just looks lost in the shuffle, like, because technically they got nothing for her. She can barely talk. They need somebody to lead you over with more interesting of a character to at least have some semblance of focus, or else you're just giving a random Japanese short chick a belt, the women's belt, and she's not captivating as many viewers as anybody else in the division. Dana Brooks injured. We have no consistency over the semblance of having a tag division in the women's division. We're treating the most competent top heel faction just losing like 50-50 booking over bottom-feeding jobbers like the Lucha House Party and Matt frickin' Riddle. And yet Matt Riddle still earns his title shot. Yes, he did beat Hurt Business clean in the 6-man tag, but didn't he also lose against Keith Lee clean in a one-on-one contenders match? So the point of what happened was completely about, like, dude, I'm just getting pissed. I wish I'd be more tolerable, but just Raw just makes me care less and less about what's supposed to be the flag-bearing show. And they don't treat themselves like a freaking show anymore. And that's the freaking problem. It's just too much wrestling. Imagine if I have to do a gauntlet match for a placement in the freaking Scrambles match. Remember those? Who would care about that? I would just care about the guys that are there to perform. That's the best part. The guys that are telling the story and the reason why they're going to be in the match. like the first Elimination Chamber match is like, okay, 6 of the Raw's top guys are gonna be in this huge plate thing where they're gonna be picked around in random. Nobody even knows even if the world champion's gonna get an advantage or not. And it's a metal huge ass structured dome type thing that you can use as like a freaking playground where you're gonna beat the crap out of each other. It just looks like a toy box now. And yes, the model of the Elimination Chamber does have its issues, but that just could have been off elevation and modifications around the place. It's a simple thing, simple, just extensive modification. You didn't have to make it look like, oh, this looks like a freaking giant metallic toy. Garbage. Stop with these stupid ass gimmick pay-per-views. The wrestlers sell the match, not the other way around. Get it for your thick ass skulls. This is just dumb. This was a dumbass show. You guys think otherwise, I don't know what else you guys are watching. Cause if you're telling me this show was actually good, I want to see Raw get a 2.1. You actually tell me over the last few weeks that any of these shows have been good. How come they haven't been reaching their average ratings? Teen Titans Go gets higher ratings. Jerry Springer and all these years still get probably better ratings. The mass medium of television is dying, and over the front, it's over shock entertainment, terrible gossip, or sports that keep it still relevant. And if Raw can't do its job, it's gonna probably die. That's why Vince is playing it smart with this Peacock deal. This Raw was terrible. If you guys think otherwise, please comment down in the comment section below. That's all I have over for the DST show. Thanks for watching. That's it for me.